Hello. Today you will learn about ways you can take control of your health. First, let's begin by discussing factors that affect your health that you may have heard you cannot control. These things may be your DNA or your genes. Often, these terms are used as if they mean the same thing. However, they are different. DNA is strands of genetic material that every living being has. Genes, however, contain many of these strands of DNA. Genes represent traits inherited from your parents. As you may have noticed, everyone's genes are different, similar to how the pair of jeans you're wearing are a different size than others. Maybe you wear the same pair of jeans, but the fit is slightly different. This same concept can be applied to your genetic genes. Since your genes are inherited from your parents, some of you may have similar conditions to your parents, like high blood pressure, high blood sugars, obesity, or heart disease. Unfortunately, these conditions can be genetic. However, your DNA or your genes is not your destiny. New research shows that there is another factor that affects your health, and this factor is epigenetics. Epigenetics is a system that can turn genes on and off. How it works is certain influences cause a chemical change that tags or marks DNA, which allows the strands to open or unravel, or coil together or close. Opening genes causes the gene to turn on, and closing the gene causes it to turn off. So essentially, epigenetics and these influences can be thought as a light switch to your genes. Turning genes on activates the gene. For example, an outside influence may turn on your inherited blood pressure gene and cause high blood pressure. However, like a light switch, this blood pressure gene can be turned off. Once turned off, the gene is silenced, causing your blood pressure to go back to normal. It is important to note that these outside influences have reversible effect on your genes. Now, you're probably wondering, what are these outside influences? What is the secret to controlling my genes and my health? Well, these influences come from our environment. These are things like your sleeping patterns, your stress levels, eating patterns, and level of physical activity. This gentleman in this picture demonstrates how environment can influence genes, which can influence health. On the left side of the picture, this man lives an active lifestyle and eats well. He appears to be in good health. If you view the same man on the right, who lives an inactive lifestyle and eats a poor diet, you can see how those lifestyle factors have caused epigenetic changes in his health, which have led to obesity and possibly other conditions.
Epigenetics impact on obesity. More than 40 genetic changes have been influenced with obesity. One type of genetic change is DNA signaling. DNA signaling has the potential to lower HDL, which is considered the good cholesterol, which can increase the chance of cardiovascular disease. Life without epigenetics. We talked about epigenetic changes and how it works like a switch. Well, when a switch malfunctions or does not work like it's supposed to, it can cause huge issues. For example, a switch or epigenetic mark that can accidentally turn on is a condition called Prader-Willi syndrome. This condition will cause uncontrollable appetite and severe obesity, a worldwide problem. It's predicted that there will be at least 1.12 billion obese individuals by 2030. However, many international institutions are determined to map out the DNA sequence and its effects on individuals' likelihood to metabolic syndrome like obesity. With more research on the way, drug companies have taken an interest in creating drugs that target obesity and that can treat the changes that epigenetic causes. Metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is several conditions which includes high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and cardiovascular disease. Recent studies have found that the obesity gene is connected with the increased risk of type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Having a solid understanding in epigenetic systems and their purpose will give us the tools to regulate and reverse obesity.
In diabetics, too much sugar in the blood can be harmful. Insulin triggers glucose into cells. Without it, the glucose assembles in high amounts in the bloodstream, as seen in this picture, a condition known as hyperglycemia. This high blood sugar leads to epigenetic changes in DNA, leading to problems with the eyes, heart, kidneys, and blood. The more that is known about how eating habits affect blood sugar, the better people are able to protect their health. Carbohydrates are the component in food that affect blood sugar. It is important to minimize intake of sweetened beverages, foods that are highly processed or high in carbohydrates, high in unhealthy fat, and low in healthy nutrients. Seen here is the blood vessel which carries oxygen-rich blood to the heart. This blood vessel is slowly building plaque inside, which is made up of fat, cholesterol, and other substances. Over time, this plaque can harden and narrow the blood flow passage in the artery, whilst the blood pressure is exerting at a great force. Hypertension occurs when the force of the blood exerted on the artery is consistently higher than normal. There are many factors that contribute to this, the most importantly ones that lifestyle has the power to influence. Studies show an unhealthy diet, lack of physical activity, use of drugs and alcohol, and high stress levels contribute to the diseases. Eat a healthy diet made up of fruits and vegetables and whole grains. Well-nourished bodies are better prepared to cope with stress, keep energy up, and physical activity and mind clear. So what we have learned is, despite being genetically vulnerable to metabolic diseases and obesity, epigenetics shows us that you have control over your health.